What's up everybody, it is Lawrence again, and today we have a really interesting shoe. Before I begin, there's two really cool announcements. The first one is this t-shirt. This is a artist rendition of, I can't remember the name. I'll probably link that in the description below once I actually have it after this video. But this is Yellow Peril Supports Black Power, and it's based on some 1960s movement. Really cool. Secondly, we have the review of the Nike React, or the Nike Overreact, which is one of the most interesting takes on a sneaker in a long time. To me, it looks like a culmination of two different shoes. It's the Presto React as well as the React 55/87. It's really hot in here right now, and the AC's running, and I am still sweating, so I apologize for any of the beaded sweat on my body right now. But let's start with a box, just because it is mad interesting. So you have your typical cardboard box, a la, kind of like Kanye and his Yeezy line and the 10 collection. I think this is kind of based on that, but I think this actually takes it a little step further. It says ISPA, which stands for Improvise, Scavenge, Protect, and Adapt, which is Nike's experimental line on, honestly, just crazy-ass experiments. Their sneakers are not easy to wear. They're not mass-produced in terms of like intention to sell to lots of people. They are super interesting silhouettes. They're super interesting uses of the technology, and just overall, they're a very interesting take on what a sneaker can be utilizing Nike technologies. So that's ISPA. The idea is really a cross between urbaners, so urban dwellers who have to traverse through a city, and also sportswear. It's not exactly sportswear, it's not exactly techwear, and it's definitely not exactly just a sneaker. So it's kind of somewhere in between. It's really hard to explain, but once you see an ISPA product, it is distinctly an ISPA product, just because it just looks so bizarre most of the time. So there's like random stickers. So you have this ISPA over here. You have this like random sticker over here that also says ISPA in other languages, or Improvise, Scavenge, whatever. You have the design in Beaverton done in blue over here, which is another sticker. Definitely, brings back some of the Virgil Abloh type vibes and off-white vibes. And then you have another. This is actually the part I don't understand. There's a couple things. This orange label, no idea what it's for, which is interesting. And then over here, which I need to go to that website. It's OIA Global. I don't know if it's a real website or not, but it's gotta be. I don't know. It's on the box. No idea what that means. The box is also made out of 90% recycled material. Just the reason I'm mentioning that is because the shoe itself is going to look very similar in terms of yarnage and stuff like that to the Space Hippie, which is also based on recycled materials. And then finally, the last mystery, and if anyone has any comments on what this all means, this 0.01, definitely leave that in the comments below, because I have no idea. I could probably do a full review on this box and the mysteries behind this box, but who cares? So without further ado, this is the Nike ISPA Overreact. In the ISPA Overreact, let's tell a little bit about the story in the upper. Obviously, it is an interesting looking shoe. The reason for that is relatively simple. The actual yarn, so it's Flyknit on top, but the yarns that are actually utilized in the shoe, it's not exactly just kind of the Flyknit woven that's based on some type of machine. Printing out and kind of weaving things. This is actually based on excess yarn that they were going to throw away. So the scrappiness of it from the scavenger of the shoe and of ISPA is definitely here. So you can see panels of it of very different colors, right? So you have kind of a light tan / white knit that's over here. Then you have a very interesting red / blue type of pattern that's over here. What's interesting on this kind of panel is that the panel itself is actually kind of plasticky. So it definitely has like some type of sheen to it. I'm not sure if you can see it very well in the camera, but it definitely shines a little bit. It kind of looks like 3M, but I don't think it is. I just think it's like a plasticky type of material that is on the inside of the weave. On this very front area, you have this kind of reinforced nylon type. It feels like rubbery, but you can kind of tell it has like some type of texture on it. It might actually just be a very light rubber, but that's in the front over here, and there's a Nike symbol right there, and that is done in a 3M, so it is reflective from what I can tell. Then at the lateral as well as medial sides, you have this nylon based material that is done in this khaki type color on both sides. And then on the lateral side, you also have this extremely interesting panel that's up here. I'm not exactly sure what type of material this is, but it kind of looks like the Air Jordan terracottas. I think it's actually here just to make sure that the rubbing of this nylon strap is not on the Flyknit itself, so that it doesn't wear away as much, which kind of gets into the interesting aspects of how this is laced up. So this is probably the most technologically advanced preschool shoe ever, whereas it's Velcro just strapped. But basically you have this strap that is like this. It's in the shape of a Y. You have a piece of string that runs through, or nylon that runs from here into here into here, and finally you strap it onto the Velcro that is right on the other side. It definitely has a very good lockdown feeling, which is amazing. And once you kind of have it on there, it's actually a lot tighter and kind of flexible than I expected. Sometimes when you have it up there, it gets really, really tight where the instep is, and that's not the case here, which I really do like. So what's interesting is this is a quote by Nike: "We put geometry to work for us, carefully designing the form of the shoe to fit together with the materials we had. The result is a giant hug for your foot." If you guys don't know, the original kind of hug for your foot or t-shirt for your feet was the Nike Presto, which was done out of the Alpha project. The Nike Presto was an interesting take at that time, and still is today. And it's interesting that the ISPA line is probably in that lineage of that Alpha project from way back when with Nike, but this is the new form of it. All right, finishing off the front of the shoe, you have this really weird ISPA button thing. So you can actually take it off, and it's like this. This is probably my least favorite part of the shoe. It kind of reminds me of, you know, those little kind of silica packets that you get in electronics and stuff like that to keep things dry. That's what it kind of reminds me of. I wish I could just not put it on, but it's weird without it. You just kind of have this button. You actually leave in the comments below. Should I just leave it as a button, or should I attach this back on? I'm not really sure. I wish it kind of attached on the other side so that it was actually on the shoe itself instead of just kind of hanging out. The most interesting part of the shoe is that it's specifically designed, and why it's called the Overreact is that it is supposed to be the most react that you're going to feel on the sneaker. And the reason for that is there's no stroble board. And because there's no stroble board, they actually just have a very thin material that is stitched on there so that there isn't exactly your foot on react, because you obviously want the react to last a little bit longer, and so that separates the foot. But for the most part, there's no stroble board to make that stability happen on the shoe. And you have a lot of react. What's interesting though is while it looks like there's a ton of react, and there is in this sneaker, it's actually less than expected. So over here, they actually designed, I believe, the react midsole to be part of the heel cup. And why that is that it actually holds your foot in here, and so there's probably about this much space between where the top of this is visually and where your foot actually is in terms of react. So your foot is probably landing about this area, but it looks like there's significantly more. It's still a shit ton of react, and you can definitely feel it. The bottom half is much more similar to your Element 55 and or 87, and it has kind of these grooves over here. I like this a lot more because there's not as many nubs on it, but it looks absolutely crazy in terms of design. I mean, it takes whatever they did on the Elements and really, really kicks it up a notch and makes it really apparent that you have all these crazy patterns on there. Then there is kind of this peachy base color that is the rubber of the shoe. So going into the outsole, you have very, very minimal rubber tractioning, obviously for weight purposes, but also so you can feel more react, because most of the ground coverage is going to be based on exposed react. But the very front, you have a little bit over here, and that's done in this white as well as peachy color, and then you have a little bit in the back. But what's interesting, and I don't understand why, maybe someone from Nike can explain this, or anybody, what is this little nub for? What does it do in there, and what does it do, and how does it improve anything? I have no idea. I honestly just want to pluck it out, but I can't, so I won't do that. And finally, in the back of the shoe, there is a pull tab that is done in this khaki color again. It's made out of a pretty interesting material. You can actually kind of tell that it's recycled. What is really weird is you also have this lanyard thing that's done in this bright orange, and it kind of comes up over here. So you actually have two pieces of the pull tab. This orange one is pretty much, I don't know, probably doesn't do anything. So what are my thoughts on the sneaker? I really, really love the design of these. This is just the right type of crazy. It's nuts, but it also has an environmental story. It's got ISPA in it. It's got this awesome kind of overized rubber over here that pulls everything together, so it protects my toes, which honestly in a city environment I pretty much never have any issues with unless I'm going up really steep stairs. The color pattern and everything I really, really love. I love the story of Honestly, I just love the shoe. It is so phenomenally different. It is so phenomenally weird. So that's kind of the styling on it. From a comfort perspective, I'm definitely impressed by it. I would definitely put it on the same level, if not just a little bit higher, just because I like the upper more, of the Presto Reacts. The Presto Reacts are phenomenal sneakers, and they're just so comfortable to wear. And I would say that you get a little bit more React feel on the sneaker, which is obviously the point, but I don't think it's substantial enough where you can actually feel the main difference between a React Presto versus these. Maybe, you know, if you run around a little bit in them a little bit more, there's a little more substantial feeling of them, but for the most part, I would say it's really similar, and I can't tell whether or not that Strobel board is making that big of a difference. But where, for me, this shines over that Presto React is the upper. It is absolutely a phenomenal upper. I love Flyknit and everything about it. It's also got a super wide base, which for me, with a wide foot, is relatively rare. The Element 55 and the 87, my feet basically spill over to the sides. I do not have that issue here, and so from React Element 80, React Element versus the ISPA version, which is the Overreact, definitely Overreact every single time. I really like the comfort on these. I definitely see myself rocking these quite a bit, just from a comfort level perspective, even if I didn't like the actual style, but I do like the style. In terms of sizing, the sizing is super simple. It is true to size. The wideness of it makes it seem like it's a little larger than it is, but it's not. The length is perfect for me, true to size. So I'm normally 7.5, and I got a 7.5, and it fits perfectly. I wouldn't do anything different. And that's it, guys. If you have any questions about the Overreact, definitely leave that in the comments below. If you have a chance, definitely hit the subscribe button and hit the thumbs up for any of the algorithms that we want to pick up so that this gets the views and, well, it just gets the respect that it deserves. That's it, guys. This is the Nike Overreact. Peace.